Hi, version 1.6 of Honkai Stereo is coming really soon, and with it, a local man literally too angry to die is making a return on the first half. Blade on release was a very good DPS with high consistent damage due to his talent's follow-up attack. However, since then there has been a lot of DPS released that are doing much higher numbers. So, is he still worth it to pull? Well, let's take a look at 3 reasons why you should pull for Blade, and 3 reasons why you should not pull for Blade. Before we start, I'll be giving away a supply pass / Rocket Moon / Crystal card to my subscribers at 2k subs, so make sure you subscribe to enter. If you don't know what Blade does, or you need a reminder, Blade is a 5-star wind destruction DPS. His skill empowers his basic attack and it becomes 3 target while consuming HP, his ultimate deals damage to 3 targets too while also consuming HP, and his talent unleashes a follow-up attack against all enemies when anything reduces his HP 5 times while healing himself. So that means taking damage or his skill reducing HP. So while it all sounds pretty complex, while actually playing him is actually really simple. When Blade was released, there wasn't really many options for a main DPS, but now as you guys know, there are plenty of options. So now we have to dive a little deeper on what makes Blade good. And that brings me on to 3 reasons why you should pull for Blade. Number 1, Blade's empower basic attack do not consume a skill point. He uses a skill point every 3 turns to skill and empower his basic. Then his basic does not use or gain a skill point. This is an extremely strong part of his kit as there's one key thing this produces. It is that he's able to use skill point hungry teammates. This could either mean he's able to use skill point hungry supports like Bronya, which is one of his best teams, or Silver Wolf to an extent. Or it could mean that he can be ran in the double DPS or even triple DPS team. Especially with Ron May coming out as an AoE team buffer while also being skill point positive, we can already see some strong double DPS team comps like the Jinlu and Blade one. Number 2, Blade is a very versatile DPS. While his best scenario are against 3 targets, he works just as well against single target and any 4+ targets due to his empower basic and ultimate having high scalings for a single target and his talent follow-up attack being all enemies. So in any content that is weak to wind, or actually not even that as you can always implant wind weakness using Silver Wolf, Blade is a wonderful DPS that's able to dish out high damage in almost every situation you put him in. This adds so much pull value as it means that he'll be used more often and is always nice to see when pulling for someone. Number 3, Blade scales off both HP and attack, but likes HP much more. This means that you're gonna be building HP on him, which in turn means that he's gonna be reasonably tanky. So when enemies target him, you won't feel as bad even though he is your DPS. And in fact, you'll actually be happy when enemies target him, as that means that he gets more talent procs and more follow-up attacks. Which also in turn means he also heals himself due to his talent. So honestly, it's a win-win. This makes him quite a comfortable DPS to play. However, that is only against enemies that aren't doing enough damage to one-shot him or against enemies that do not CC him. And although I mentioned he has good self-sustain, it is not good enough for him to be able to solo-sustain himself, especially in harder content like the upcoming floor 11 and 12 of MOC. So that brings me on to the 3 reasons why you should not pull for Blade. Number 1. Against content that can CC your Blade like freezes or disables, or just high damage enemies in general like in Storm Disaster, you're gonna need a very good healer to comfortably play Blade. Blade consuming his own HP and healing it becomes less of an ideal kit when against enemies that just straight up one-shot you when you're not full HP. So you're gonna have to run an extremely good sustain unit like Locha, Huohua, or E4 Lynx, etc. Which brings me on to the second point. Number 2. Blade's ideal and best teams are very costly and limited. As I have mentioned, he primarily scales off HP and almost always needs a strong healer, which means that he does not like attack buffs, which rules out basically all of the harmony units like Tin Yun or Asta and such. And mediocre healers are also ruled out too, like Bailu or Natasha, because they don't heal enough. And not to mention, since he really wants to be getting hit, shields basically disable his talent. So no Japard or March 7, even though March 7 can add taunt to Blade, which is quite sad. Blade in his best teams are really costly, and even if you have all the units, chances are you probably want to use some of the units on your other team. Number 3, being not skill point hungry is great and all, but to balance that he really doesn't have that high of a damage. Now of course he does enough damage to basically clear all the content in this game, and is also tanky on top of that. However, when the content is trying to do as much damage as you can in a short amount of time, like in MOC or the brand new Pure Fiction, Blade does fall behind actually genuine damage hypercarries like Jinlu and Lune, etc. This might be a very fatal point that makes people not pull for him, as most of the time he isn't actually the best option to clear those content. But that being said, he is still the best win DPS at this point of time, and I think that he's just also fun to play, and especially when you're not paying attention to his talent and a random follow-up attack just comes. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to subscribe as you will also join a giveaway. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye!